In this course, we're going to talk about using template apps inside of Podio. Now, you're probably wondering, what is a template app? Well, a template app is an application that allows us to stage predefined information. We can use that information later on at different points in different kinds of workflows. So the nice thing about this, and you'll see in these examples, is that by housing this information in different template apps, it's really easy to add or remove things or modify things on the fly inside of Podio without having to go to various workflows and make those updates. So if we look at the examples and use cases we've got below, let's talk about notifications. That might make the most sense to start. So if we had a notifications template app, that could house things like email templates or email notifications that we need to send out. It's the exact same email every single time, but maybe there's different pieces of information. Maybe it's the user's name or some other piece of information. Well, we can create a Podio app that houses notification templates, in this case emails, that can be used in various workflows throughout the environment. Now, what's nice about that, like I said, is that if this email is being used at different points in different workflows, if there's a change to that email content, we would have to go into the workflow engine and we would have to find each of those email actions in each of the workflows and update that content inside of the workflow. By housing that information inside of a notifications template, all we have to do is make the change in Podio, and now that change will be made moving forward across all of our workflows. So again, it's really helpful for things like notifications. Task templates is hugely popular if you've got some kind of projects application and it's got a series of predefined tasks that happen at certain stages. Having those tasks, kind of staged out in a task playbook or task template app is really helpful in terms of managing those things. We can do the same thing for staff or team templates. Same thing for settings, and you'll see here in the demo when we get to it, how we're using a settings template app to house different pieces of information that, again, can be used in workflows later on. What I want to do is I actually want to pop over to this environment. This is in the context of an HR service workspace. We'll use this for an example. I've actually got an email inbox over here so we can kind of see how this works. But what I want to do is I want to go to a couple things. Now, in this example, what we're doing is we're taking in something like an HR request for time off. Typically in that kind of workflow, it's somebody filling out a web form as an employee, and we want to send them an email for them to know that, hey, your request was received, it's being reviewed. Likewise, maybe we want to be able to route information to a manager to approve that request for time off. Now, what's really cool about this workspace is we're leveraging a few different template applications. So the first one we're leveraging is actually our HR team. So what we're doing here is we've got a series of people inside of our HR team, and we can see here that they're organized by role. So we've got some people tied to benefits, some people tied to payroll. And what's nice about that is when new HR cases come in, if it's not a request for time off, if it's something, for example, related to payroll, we can route that right to somebody that's on that payroll team. So it's really nice to be able to use an application like this for that purpose, because again, instead of assigning it to just a Podio profile, we're able to assign it to somebody by role, which in turn assigns it to their Podio profile by using a staff team app here. Now we've also got a notifications template. So let's go take a look at this real quick. So you can see here we've got all of our email templates staged out. So we've got an email template for case confirmation. So if somebody submits a case, basically what we're going to do is we're going to return an email, our subject line, who the email is from, and the email body. So the email body is going to say, hi, name of employee, thanks for creating your case. Here's our content, and we're actually going to grab the case ID, the case type, and the case status, and we're going to pass that forward into the email to go back out to the employee. So you'll see here we've done this across a few areas. This is the time off request. If it's over a certain number of days, it goes to the manager to approve. And we've got that email template predefined as well. So same thing for case time off approved, time off denied, all of these kind of things. We've got the communications already staged out here in our notifications app. So again, when we go look at the workflows here in a second, you'll be able to see that we're not going to be managing the actual email content in the workflow action itself. It's managed here, but then it's still being used inside of the workflow. Finally, we've got a demo settings application. It's got one item in it. But you can see here we've got some different pieces of information that we'll use in our workflow. So we've got some links to our logo. We've got a link to an HTML button to view the case, to approve a time off request, or decline a time off request. We're also housing here in the context of this workspace being HR service management. We want to be able to say, hey, what's the approval limit on the number of days that somebody could request off before it has to go to manager for approval? So in our workflow, we've got the ability to say if it's greater than or equal to 5 days, we want to route it for manager approval. But rather than housing that number in a workflow, we're housing it here. So let's say tomorrow we say, you know what, like we don't really care. We just need to know if people are going to be gone for more than 10 days. Our workflows are now aware of this settings app, and it will know when we go through and do this, hey, if it's greater than or equal to 10 days, now we want to send it to manager approval. So next, let's pop over to the workflow engine, and we'll show you what this looks like. So what we've done here is we've got our emails kind of staged in these manual email flows. So, you'll see here if we go to an on create flow, let's go take a look at that real quick. Basically, what we're doing is we are getting the information from the settings app. So we're searching for that item in an app. We're getting the information about our employee. We're updating the case to say who the employee's manager is. You'll see here then that we are kicking off the confirmation email. And then we're going through and we're doing a series of checks. We're looking to see what kind of request or case type this is. If it's a request for time off, again, because we're going and getting our settings app that we just talked about, we're able to look and see now if our number of days that's been requested is less than or equal to that number 10, we can go ahead and auto approve it. So we would mark it as approved. We would say current date that it was picked up is today, date resolved is today, case status is resolved. Really easy. And again, we didn't have to come update this number here. We were just updating this number in our settings application, which is really nice. Now, let's take a look at another example. Let's look at the workflow for our case confirmation. So same kind of thing. What I'm doing is I'm going and searching in Podio for this item so we can use the information here. I'm also going and I'm searching the notification templates for this specific template because I know based on the workflow process when we need to call on this email to be sent. So I know that I can go grab this template. So again, I'm grabbing this template here. And what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the employee information and I'm basically constructing the body of the email and the button here using our variables. So what I'm able to do is I'm actually able to look at this email template and I'm able to replace these tokens, our first name, our ID, our type, and our status, and actually the entire email body. I'm able to replace those with token data coming from the actual request. So when this goes out, we know first name is going to be replaced by the first name of the employee making the request. We'll know the case type, the ID, so on and so forth. We're constructing the status button so the employee can always click this HTML button and be able to see the status. So what that looks like in our email action is our email action is actually very clean. Again, we're just including these variables that are largely being constructed via the Podio apps and the Podio data. So again, if I wanted to change the wording of this email, I don't have to come over here and find this and do this. I can just do this here, which makes it really easy. So let's take a look at what this looks like in practice. Let's go ahead and let's actually submit a new case here, and we'll be putting links, to a lot of these KB articles on how to do this stuff in the notes of this video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Zach. I'm going to say this is time off. Let's say we're going to be out for 20 days. And just to make it easy, we're going to be out the 1st through 21st. Just a long vacation. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. We're going to see our new item was created. We'll see here that it moved to in progress, and we don't have approval yet because, again, this is going to be over that 10-day threshold. But to see our settings in action, oh, you know what? I used the wrong email address. Hang on real quick. Let's fix that. We're going to use a test email account here. That was my mistake. I forgot to update that. Let's go back out here and let's do another one. Same thing. Let's say employee, Zach. Let's say it's a request for time off, 20 days from here to here, vacation, submit. Okay, so now my record's going to come in. Again, it's it's going to be over that time frame. So we'll see it's going to be in pending. It is not auto approved. But what I did is I got an email here using all of our predefined templates. So it grabbed the template. It knew that the submitting user's first name is Zach. It brought in the case ID. It brought in the type and the status. I can even click this and see this, the status at any given time, which is kind of nice. But again, all of that is staged inside of our template apps rather than in the workflows. So again, the major benefit being that we can reuse and we can change and we can add and modify these things very easily. All while being able to not have to dig into the workflow to do that. We're only doing it in the Podio apps. Now, one final thing I'll show you, totally different use case, but just to give you an idea, here's one where we've got a task playbook, same kind of thing. What we've done is we've staged out a series of tasks. In this context, these are tasks that go along with an insurance claim. We know when this task is supposed to happen. We know who the owner is supposed to be. And so what we're able to do is we're able to stage this out here. So in the workflow, we can come in when something hits claim investigation. It creates these 3 tasks and it assigns it to these people by role. So again, very helpful because if we wanted to add a new task, rather than go to the workflow engine and do it, we could just come here, add a new task, give it a description, tell it, hey, here's the stage we want it to be included in. Here's the role of the person we want it to be completed by, and now we're good to go.